evening and welcome to Sportsline. I'm Dan Taylor, and tonight we have with us the brothers Carey. That's right, Mike Carey, assistant head coach and defensive coordinator for Central Bucks West, and Dan Carey, quarterback coach and defensive back coach for West. This past week, it was CB West taking on CB East, and we'll have that game for you after Sportsline this evening. And West takes home the Suburban One League Conference title. This week they'll play in the first round of the District 1 playoffs, and they will be going against Plymouth Whitemarsh. West fans will remember Plymouth Whitemarsh, and these gentlemen do too. That's the team that beat them last year, knocked them out of the playoff chase. And we'll be back to talk about East-West and Plymouth Whitemarsh. That coming up on Sportsline.
For years, the friendly and knowledgeable staff of Gem Jewelers has been helping you select the finest jewelry for all of life's important events. Now, Gem Jewelers has moved both of their stores to one expanded location on Route 611 at Bristol Road. Inside, you'll find a spacious new showroom with one of the largest selections in the area. You'll find great values on their large selection of diamond engagement rings, watches, and designer jewelry. Their new line of porcelain figurines make great gifts, too. They do all of their own work, and a graduate gemologist is always on hand. So for all this and the same great prices, stop in at Gem Jewelers. Since 1958, Eagles Peak Spring Water has been the answer for homes and businesses alike. Serving all of Bucks and East and Montgomery counties, delivery is always free. Eagles Peak offers pure bottled drinking water as well as distilled, plus a convenient office coffee service. Cooler rentals and sales are available, along with a wide selection of attractive ceramic dispensers. For new customers only, mention this ad and receive 2 free bottles of water with a cooler rental. Remember, when you reach for the peak, you reach for the best.
And Chicago beat Los Angeles.
Yes! If you like sports, if you can't get enough of sports, if you want up-to-the-minute scores, point spreads, all the news on your favorite sports, then you need to call the 24-hour sports and entertainment line. Call this number now and get the latest news on football, baseball, basketball, hockey, whatever the season, whatever the news. It's all here on the sports and entertainment line. No need to wait for the news on TV. You can call the sports and entertainment line anytime and become the most informed sports fan in town. The line is updated every 15 minutes. So what are you waiting for? Call the sports and entertainment line now.
And if you're not a sports fan like me, you can use the sports and entertainment line too. Call for your daily horoscope, soap opera updates, financial news, and lots more.
There's also a great sports trivia game. It's really challenging and a lot of fun.
It's fun at your fingertips.
The sports and entertainment line. Call now.
I've had a computer for a couple of years now, but to be honest, I didn't see what all the fuss was about. Then I got America Online. Now I use it all the time. It makes my life easier. Why? Use email to send messages to family and friends. Point and click your way around the internet with America Online's great new web browser. And there's more. Scan hundreds of magazines, get sports scores, enjoy hobbies, even shop online. So call this toll-free number and get everything you need to make your life easier and more fun.
Back on Sportsline as we're talking about Central Bucks West football, the East-West game, Plymouth Whitemarsh coming up. Dan Carey and Mike Carey are joining me, and thanks for being here, gentlemen. I know it's a busy week. We had to pull these guys out of, practice and looking at films and all. First off, congratulations, another title to both of you.
Thank you.
Is it rewarding as, say, the first title that you were a part of?
Yeah, they still don't get old. They probably get better as I get older and as a minute longer, and just because everything's that much more competitive. This one probably is the most satisfying of all the years I've been involved.
How about you, for you, Dan? I mean, you're kind of a newcomer to this.
Well, this is my 4th year coaching and my 4th title, and they definitely get better.
Now, West gets the top seed in the District 1 playoff. When you go into a season, I'm sure naturally it's to win the title, but do you think about seeding in playoffs?
No, not at all. I mean, any coach in our league will tell you that you try to stay focused week to week, and I know that's kind of, a lingo that everybody uses, but we truly do that at West. We try to stay focused. We had a big game, the number 1 game of the year against Cumberland Valley. Followed that up with Norristown in Pennsbury, and each week in our league is so tough, especially physically. And then as you got close to the end, I mean, with the community talking and that game looming that we just had Saturday night against CBS, it was tough to stay focused, but we did a great job. I thought I think we're peaking at the right time of the year, and now all of our focus is on PW.
Dan, you mentioned when we were talking that going into last year's game against PW, it was a team that had some injuries. You had to use a couple of juniors, which you felt kind of hurt because it's a tough situation. How's it stand this year?
Well, first off, we were definitely banged up last year. I think this season took the toll on us, and some of our key players were nicked and some key players were out. This season's almost a full reversal. I think everyone's pretty healthy. You have your typical injuries that you get during the season, but I would say overall we're pretty much healthy and ready to go into the playoffs.
As the assistant head coach, when you're looking at the overall team, Mike, that is a concern to keep everybody healthy.
Most definitely. Again, coming through this tough Suburban 1 Power 10 conference, you take your bumps and bruises, and we surely did. At the beginning of the year, we were probably not to full strength until 6th, 7th week of the season. We are just about 100% healthy right now. Everybody's practicing, and we had one of our best practices of the year today, which I don't know whether I should take that good, positive or negative, but I think we're on a roll.
Yeah, but when you talk about peaking, now you have to keep it on that level through the week.
You do. Coming off that East week, it's such an emotional high. As their coach, Larry Green, will tell you, one of his big tasks is going to be get his team to turn around and get ready to play some great football like they're capable on Friday night. You're just drained. I feel like there's 1,000 pounds lifted off my shoulders. All the coaches have talked about that because the East week, even though the playoffs are so important, that to the community and our program is just the highlight of our season. But our kids have responded well. And yesterday we went real light. It's tough coming back from Saturday. You only get one day off. Today we had a great practice, and we told them they can watch the game tonight, enjoy it on TV, and then all focus is on PW starting tomorrow.
Okay, and that game is Saturday night. And actually, West had the choice going in of Friday or Saturday night on War Memorial. Why did the coaching staff and Coach Pettin decide to go with Saturday?
Well, we felt that, playing a Saturday night game, if it was a Friday night game against East, we would have probably chose to play Friday night. But with the Saturday night game and, being it was a physical game, we wanted the extra day of work and the extra day of preparation.
We have an email question. This comes from one of our viewers, and that's Bill from Chalfont. And Bill writes, why would Coach Pettin go with Saturday night when you look at War Memorial Field and the condition of the field keeps deteriorating? Why stretch it out the extra day? I can understand your reasoning, but I think Bill's is a good question.
Hey, it really was not in our consideration. It's a great question. It's one that's been posed by the community for the last 5 years. You ask any coach in the Suburban 1, it's the worst playing conditions in the Suburban 1. And I think there's some things in the works to improve the field. It's just, totally overused. I mean, you got 2 soccer programs, 2 high school football programs, some JV programs, powder puff football. It's a tough situation.
Now, it's interesting. We were talking during the break about the playoff week with East playing on Friday, you folks playing on Saturday. If there's bad weather, and I guess it's now the PIAA's call bad weather to call a game or to move a game, or is it the school's call?
You got me on that one. I'm not sure. I would think it'd be our call being the home team and the number 1 seed, and probably Larry's call on Friday night from CBS since he's the home team. And I think both teams want to get it in, but that extra day, you'll have that Sunday day in case there is a rain-out problem.
Right. Now, the thing is, what we're looking at, I'll look ahead as a member of the media looking ahead. But if East and West would both win this weekend, does that mean they meet in the finals on the following weekend, Danny?
Yeah, we sure do. We meet the following Friday, and that'll be at War Memorial Field, and I'm sure that's something the community would like to see again. It'll be a great matchup once again.
Okay, so that Friday leaves you again a couple of days to get in, because as we get in, it gets tough with this weather.
Right, sure does.
Okay, that's the end of the conversation. If East and West should win, we'll let them focus on Plymouth White Marsh. Last year, they were the team that stopped you from advancing in the playoffs. And I didn't realize this, but you did not score a point against PW. And how hungry is the team this year to avenge that loss? And let's start with the assistant head coach first.
I think the team's real hungry. We were embarrassed last year down there at their field. First time we've been shut out in about 15 years. And as Dan alluded to, we were not near full strength. We were also a very, very young and immature team with 5 or 6 seniors that were the starters, and they left us. And we're a mature team this year. They are a great team. I mean, they only lost 3 or 4 of their key players. They basically have everybody back that went to the Eastern Regional. But we're looking forward to it.
And Dan, you talked about how it really was a 6-0 ball game, and West was in it, but you got stalled at the 4-yard line.
Yep. We had probably one of our better drives of that game where we took it down to the 4-yard line, and I don't remember all the plays leading up to that, but I know we had an opportunity to score on 4th down, and the play was open, and we just didn't execute the final part of the play, and I think that would have shifted the momentum a little bit and put it back into our favor. It might have awoken us. I think we were a little flat also, and even a team that's next, I think if they get a little momentum going, they're going to be in the game to the end. So I think that would have helped us. When
you look back at that game, why do you think the team was flat?
I think it was a combination of two things. One, we went through a very, very emotional week against CBW, which I alluded to. It takes its toll. The following week, we opened up with Coachville, the biggest high school team I've ever seen in my life, and to this day.
I remember
Physical game. We came out on the upside, but it took its toll. Our best defensive tackle, Tom Halp, who was starting as a true freshman for Kutztown, did not play at all in the PW game. Our other defensive tackle was hurt. Our one linebacker, Chris McNutt, didn't practice the whole week and tried to play in the game. We were just beat up. And it was not the same West team that had met East 2 weeks earlier, but you don't make those excuses. You go with what you got. I just feel better about the team. We're a year older, and most of the guys are back that took that loss hard.
Now, Dan, you talked about War Memorial Field and the situation, but it has to help that you guys will be home this year.
Yeah, you always love to play home. You have your home crowd. That definitely just the energy and the excitement, I think, picks the kids up and gives you something more extra to play for when you know you're playing in front of the whole community or your parents and friends.
Does it help in practice this week that you saw Plymouth White Marsh last year? Have they changed a lot over the years? Did you look at films from last year and films from this year, Mike?
Yeah, we've looked at last year's film against them probably 2 or 3 times already, and we have some film on them this year, and they haven't changed a lot. They're just very, very diversified offensively. They pressure you defensively with a heavy front, and what separates them like anybody else? Schemes are schemes. They got the athletes that can run the schemes, and as I said, except for their quarterback and one other guy, the wideout that hurt us, number 7, their whole backfield's intact. They got a Division I offensive linebacker, and they've been on the roll the last 4 or 5 weeks, averaging about 40 points a game.
Last week it was West beating Central Bucks East 21-3, and both offensively and defensively, I guess the score tells the story. How about the offense? Going into the game, East switched from that 4-3 Dan to the 5-2. That was, I guess, to get rid of your outside game?
I believe that was probably the main focus of it. Seemed like they were basically trying to concentrate, taking away Dennis Cliggett and Travis Bloomgren. And I guess they thought the 50 would help them in that regard. And it seemed to do the job on the first at least quarter and a half. And we sort of shifted our game plan, and we thought we found a little weakness, and we started trying to exploit it by running Dave Armstrong between the tackles, and we were very successful with that.
Now, is that how you adjusted your offensive strategy right away, or did it take a while to figure it out?
Well, it seemed like it took a couple series, that's for sure. I think every coach was given his input, and it does take a couple series to adjust to something like that when you're not prepared for it.
Now, you said you have a call list that you talk to Coach Pat?
Yes, we go into every game with a must-call list where there's a certain amount of running and passing plays that we want to try to execute and at least work on during the game because we think they're going to be successful against a certain defense. Now, when they come out in a different look, a lot of them plays are basically to be tossed over your shoulder. You got to start working on some of the things that you worked during the season and pull some things that you haven't really used for a couple of weeks, and hope the kids are going to still run them the way you want them to run them.
What were your thoughts when you saw them come out in the 5-2, Mike?
Well, Dan sitting next to me, I had some hard thoughts that run the fullback. I was expressing myself and right away, and we have a lot of weapons at West, and we all as coaches felt going into that game that our offense would move the ball, move it successfully. Nobody has stopped us. And they did a great job. I got to give them credit. They came up with something to take away our number 1 threat. They did that. We hadn't used Dave Armstrong that much just because it's tough to get the ball in so many people's hands. And Dave responded with 27 carries for almost 160 yards. And, he was just a man among boys out there at times.
154 yards rushing, and he had great blocking, but he did a good job against 2 of the largest linemen from Suburban 1. That would be Nick Kruger and Mitchell. They have a combined weight of 550 pounds. How about talk a little bit about Dan's play on the field, the job he did rushing in the 2 touchdowns. Who wants to take that one? Dan, you want to talk about
Dave?
Or Dave, I'm sorry.
Dave.
Yeah.
Well, Dave's the kind of kid I think he's always willing to take the burden if we're going to give it to him. He's definitely a gamer, and he seems that every time you give him the ball, he's going to get better. To me, he seems like he's a better runner come the 3rd and 4th quarter because I think he really wears the defense down with his size, and he's got a great combination of size, speed, and agility, which not many guys at 250 pounds have that. And
well, what were the 2 touchdowns, the calls?
Oh gosh, I think they were just basically fullback dives or fullback off tackle.
Right.
Real basic. And if you look at the film or look at the game tonight, you can see we stuck with basically 4 or 5 plays from about the halfway through the 2nd period on. We just took what they gave us. We didn't get fancy. We just kept repeating the plays out different sets, out different looks.
When you talk about Musburger and Mitchell, they're big guys. But this whole league, there are a lot of big guys, right?
Right. There are. The week before we played Abington, who overall was probably the biggest team in the Suburban one. East Shirley has great size. Pennsbury has a couple 300-pounders. Benstown was big. And, we're just average size. But we have a above average size fullback. And Dave Shirley showed that Saturday night.
Now, he's a junior and a captain of the team. And I said before, it seems like he has been around for years. I didn't realize he's been there since he was a freshman on the last team. What about his leadership and how has that contributed to the team's success this season?
Well, Dave's a great leader. He's first 11th grade captain ever at West. And, early in the season, he was leading by example because he had 3 seniors that were captains. But as the season's going on, Dave is really jumped up, I would think, in the forefront there. And his play exemplifies the way he is. Dave's just a go-get-him, 100%. He's all out in practice all the time. He never comes off the field. He's on our punt team, our punt return, our kickoff return. He's one of the best defensive ends in the league, and he's just a great fullback. The
first time this season that East didn't make it into the end zone, their offense held to 126 yards rushing and 28 yards passing. What was the key to stopping them when, did they throw any surprises at you when they came out offensively?
Yeah, they threw a couple little wrinkles in there, a little bit of unbalance with Panical at the wing, doing a little bit of motion, jetting back and forth. Not really. They pretty much stuck to the game plan and gave the ball to Fitzko, which, as a defensive coordinator, it has that has the one good side is we knew who was going to take the burden for East, and we thought that the team speed we had defensively would really present problems for East, which it did at times. Other times they were successful running the ball on us, but you can't expect to stop them. I mean, they have some good people blocking up in front, 2 real good fullbacks in front of Fitzko, and Andy Fitzko is one of the toughest high school runners we have faced in a long time, especially hitting the hole in terms of quickness. But we put some major shots on him, and we penetrated more than they've had any team penetrate on them all year. And when they got crunch time down in the red zone and shortened the field on them, they had some tough times.
When you look at this East team, Dan, and you played in this game, how would you compare this East team to some of the East teams that you faced?
Well, I think you'd have to rank it up there as either one of the top 2 or 3. I know that one of the teams that I faced as a junior, the team with Scott Stankiewicz at quarterback, Joe Kozak at running back, Bob Branch at fullback. I don't know if you can get any better than that as skill people. So I would definitely have to say you'd have to rank it up there in the top 2 or 3. Their size, their offensive line is very good. They have an excellent all-leg tight ends. As Mike stated, they have 2 good fullbacks. And with Fitzko, it's one guy that, I have no problem saying. I definitely respect him, and I think he's one of the best backs in the league. The guy is very tough and hits the hole very quick.
As a coach, Mike, when you look at the East team that you saw Saturday night, what about some of the other teams you faced? And everybody seems to talk about that Stankiewicz year. But any other teams that
compared to other East teams?
Other East teams.
I think in some areas there's been other East teams that have been more potent. I don't know if there's been a better back than Andy Fitzko, and Mitchell and Panical are extremely good. But I don't want to slight any of some of the other East teams had great skilled people, and East had some young people at some of the other skill positions, and I don't want to say too much because we have to play them in 2 weeks. But they have their record speaks for themselves. Nobody had stopped them going into our game, we felt comfortable that we would present a lot of problems to them. And, I'm still smiling.
I can
Still
tell.
smiling.
Yeah, happy individual.
Right.
As we head into the break, one question: what does this mean now we head into the playoffs? That two schools are both in the playoffs. Good for the community.
Great for the community. I mean, I've never seen so much interest in the last month over the East-West game. We're pulling for them. I mean, I'd like to see them beat Downingtown, and it would be a great thing for the community. I hope we can get by PW, and then we would meet them again. I mean, that would be unbelievable. And yeah, the interest here is at a record high right now.
All right, we're talking with Dan Carey and Mike Carey from Central Bucks West. Mike is the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator, and Dan is the quarterback and defensive back coach. And we'll be back to talk more about East-West and Plymouth Whitewash coming up on Sportsline.
You're in for an adventure at the Adventure Center, indoor rock climbing gym and adventure facility. The Adventure Center welcomes both seasoned and novice climbers, plus families and children of all ages can walk right in and have fun. Call for details on special weekly classes, birthday parties, beginner packages, and group rates. Admission is available through day passes or membership. Call the Adventure Center and begin a new adventure now. 215-230-9085, located off Old Easton Road in Doylestown. Stop what you're doing and listen to some of the best reasons to seek out the chiropractic services of Dr. Rick Mercadante. There's a definite difference in my performance due to Dr. Mercadante's chiropractic care.
I had left my business and was facing surgery for carpal tunnel syndrome when Dr. Mercadante saved me from surgery and restored my ability to work again.
The pain after my accident was excruciating. Dr. Mercadante helped relieve my pain.
Dr. Rick Mercadante can make a difference in your life. Call today.
If you're serious about developing rock-hard abs, well, there's only one choice. It's the Ab Roller Plus. It's the last abdominal product you'll ever have to buy.
Introducing the Ab Roller Plus, the only complete abdominal workout that supports your head and neck for a safe yet super intense abdominal workout.
These people have never used the Ab Roller Plus before today. When I tried, it was phenomenal. My back didn't hurt. My neck didn't hurt.
I think it's a lot easier than doing sit-ups, easier in the neck and back.
For just 3 easy payments of $29.95, we'll include this free 5 easy moves in 5 minutes workout video. Get maximum results with minimum strain. Call and order the Ab Roller Plus right now.
Make the call today and get the Ab Roller Plus.
Use your credit card and call 1-800-801-1001 to order the Ab Roller in just 3 payments of $29.95 plus $12.95 shipping in U.S. funds, or send check or money order to the address shown. That's 1-800-801-1001. Call now.
The all-new Ristorante Sorrento, not your ordinary pizza shop. We also serve fine Italian cuisine in our newly renovated dining room. Look for our daily blackboard specials featuring pasta, fresh veal, chicken, and seafood. Entrees start from $6.95 to $15.95. Reservations are suggested on the weekends. Be sure to try our delicious summer special. 2 large pizzas for only $11.99. Pickup and delivery available. In addition, Ristorante Sorrento is now available to cater small parties of up to 75 people. For more details, give us a call at 215-340-1133.
Back on Sportsline, as we're discussing Central Bucks West football with Mike Carey and Dan Carey. Another email question. Lisa from Doylestown has a question. Let me tell you that we do accept email questions. Sportsline@AOL.com is the email address. Lisa writes, is this the first year that East and West remained unbeaten until the East-West game? I can answer that. Yes, it was. But was it any different with both teams going in undefeated? You're just worrying about your undefeated record and not even thinking about West being, or East being undefeated.
Yeah, well, both teams were going into play for a title. I mean, I don't think I kind of pinched myself today when I looked at in the Inquirer and saw we were ranked number 1, which I knew that, but 10-0, and I kind of reflected and said, gosh, we played 10 games already. You kind of focused every week into all your energies into that game, and I mean, that was the East-West game. Whether we were 1-10 and they were 1-10, the winner of that has bragging rights for another year. And on top of that, you had the championship and the number 1 seed in the district. So there was a lot at stake.
Central Bucks East will be taking on Downingtown this Friday evening at War Memorial Field, and Central Bucks West playing Plymouth Whitemarsh, as we've been discussing. SCC will be there for both games, providing television coverage. And here's the schedule. The West game will air next Tuesday, November 12th at 8:30, and our pregame coverage will be on Sportsline here at 8 p.m. And the East game will air on Thursday, November 14th at 8:30. And Dan, from your perspective, what are you doing to prepare for PW this weekend? I know Mike's cutting down a lot of film and spending a lot of time with Coach Fenton.
Mm-hmm.
What's your job?
Basically, just trying to work with my different positions that I have to coach, quarterbacks and defensive backs, and just trying to get them ready defensively, what to expect, basically what PW throws. They throw a lot of different combination patterns, a lot of play action patterns at you. So I think if you can prepare these kids to know or try to expect certain plays out of different sets, that helps them tremendously. On the offensive side, just trying to keep the quarterback progressing, trying to get him to improve each week, and hopefully he's going to keep playing good games down the stretch for us. He's a very key player for our team.
Another email question comes from Jerry in Warrington, and Jerry writes, he's noticed more than a few former West players are part of this coaching staff, and do you think this helps solidify the team's efforts?
Yeah, it does. The coaches come in, and in the last 10 years, we probably had upwards to 15 guys at different times that have played for Mike. They know the system. They know how, the demandings of the system in terms of hours, in terms of the off-season program. They can relate to the kids in terms of they've been there. We run a hard program, and Coach Pettin says it all the time that it's not for everybody, but the guys that stick it out, it's lifelong rewarding, things. And yes, it's great having a lot of former players on the staff.
And I guess the key word would be tradition, right, Dan?
Without a doubt. I mean, like Mike said, most of the coaches who have gone through the system have won championships, have been in playoff situations, so they can relate to kids, and I think the kids respect that and respond to it.
I know you're focusing on what's coming up in the district playoffs, but is there ever a point during the year when the coaches are just sitting around talking to look at the other part of the state and some of the football programs out there and some of the teams that, down the line you may be facing?
Well, now and then they'll come up in conversation. Sometimes somebody will get a paper from maybe the Harrisburg area, and you'll see, the Penn Hills or Cedar Cliff or North Hills, is ranked high. But at this point in time, I mean, we haven't looked at any film or looked at anybody except for CB East, and now we're looking at PW. I don't know anything about Downingtown except what I read, and I wish East a lot of luck. And I hope some of that luck follows us also. Well, we wish you luck against PW. Hope that we'll be covering yet another Central Bucks West game next week. Thanks to Dan and Mike Carey for coming on the show from Central Bucks West coaching staff. Now, after tonight's Sportsline program, it's the game we talked about this evening. Central Bucks East, Central Bucks West, crosstown rivals. It's always a classic at War Memorial Field. Next week on Sportsline, Jeff Sakaitis from the Intelligencer Record and one of our SBT sports commentators will come to talk about West and Plymouth Whitemarsh, along with the East Downingtown game. Again, Mike and Dan, good luck. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dan Taylor, and enjoy the game coming up. Gentlemen.